welcome everybody to the launch of Glance 2.0. My name is Peter Ashley, VP of Business Development for Applied Information, and I'm going to be joined with a whole host of different people today. First up, I'm joined by the CEO of Applied Information, Brian Mulligan. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the whole show. We're going to show you live demonstrations of the new Glance 2.0 interface. But we thought we'd kick off the show with Brian giving us a little bit of history of how we got to where we are today.
Thanks, Pete. Well, welcome everybody. This is a great moment in the development of Applied Information and Glance as we kick off Glance 2.0. And I thought I'd just take everybody through a little quick background of how we came to be here. The first thing is that we released the first version of Glance about 11 years ago. And 11 years ago, the landscape for companies like us was completely different. So I made a few little notes about where we were 11 years ago, which I thought I'd share with you. 11 years ago, cloud computing was completely new. Hard to imagine that, but nothing in transportation was done in the cloud. Everybody was building server rooms and filling them with servers and running them themselves. And we came along and said, no, there's a better way to do this with shared infrastructure. We came along with the business that every device has an integrated cellular modem, and that we were going to package a device with connectivity and cloud software called Glance. And this was going to be a package that would be easier to integrate and simpler for customers to operate. And so it's proved to be. We tackled the issue of security head on. And so the business of a secure cloud platform with the best brains in the business focused on security, the best software focused on security, means that we can confidently go forward in a secure and effective environment without you guys each having to manage your own security, which in this day and age is proving more and more difficult. And in fact, tightening up some of our firewalls causes a slowdown in Glance, which you might have noticed this morning. We've got a whole team of people working on it. But most importantly, that gives you the effectiveness of when you've got this team of folks behind you every step of the way. We got to the point where we've got 45,000 devices out there in 1,500 cities. We've got 128 people working hard every day to bring you Glance, and most importantly, to bring you Glance of the future. And this Glance 2.0 is just a little bit of a foretaste of what's to come. We're just getting started. Give you an idea of what the software looks like at scale. We service 3,000 million requests a year.
3,000 million?
3 billion requests. We've got approximately 500,000 managed endpoints. We've got roughly 300 CPUs all running away in secure data centers, bringing you Glance. And this whole business of continuous improvement happening behind the scenes is to date, we've issued approximately 4,000 software updates to Glance, which makes it even more effective for the future. So excited to share those, where we are, where we're going with you. And Pete and the team are going to take you through this journey of Glance 2.0 and where we are and where we're going.
Well, thanks very much, Brian. It's exciting. I mean, it's like, you know, when you get to open up a new present, that's exactly what Glance 2.0 is for me. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into one of the videos that shows some of the great new features within Glance, and then we're going to be joined by our next guest. So we're going to head over to the next video.
The Glance you know and love has been upgraded. Let's walk you through the new Glance and show you how to make managing your community easier. We've completely re-optimized our design to decrease load times and make Glance accessible from anywhere, on any mobile device. We're prepared to grow with you. As you scale your smart infrastructure, so will Glance. Now, through Glance, you can see real-time traffic updates, track your fleet live, and view signal phase and timing second by second. We've also revamped scheduling to make it even easier. Schedule your school beacons at your convenience from anywhere, on any mobile device. With the Take a Closer Look feature, you can view cycle times, offsets, splits, plans, and more. With remote front panel access, you can view a virtual traffic cabinet front panel from your traffic controller in real time. Make adjustments to your signals, and even view live camera feeds. Now, managing your community and keeping your citizens safe has never been easier. So what are you waiting for? Get started today at appinfoinc.com.
Man, that's some cool new features. So we're joined by our CTO, Ian Mulligan, who's kind of the brains behind the whole thing. And this is not just 1 year in the making. This is multiple years in the making.
Yeah, it's been quite a process getting from sort of where we were to where we are. I know it's been quite the journey, and I'm sort of grateful that everyone here has been able to join us on it. I know the last 10 years of Glance, like we were talking about, has been a huge transformation for our industry, for the software and all that kind of thing. And that's why I'm looking forward to this next decade of Glance 2.0 and all the new amazing things we're doing. I mean, this is just the feature set on launch. We've got a app pipeline absolutely stuffed full of new things to do in the coming quarters and years.
And how did we get you? I mean, what was the philosophy? How did we get from Glance 1.0 to Glance 2.0?
Well, part of it is that I'm never satisfied. So I always want to do more, always want to do it better, and like Brian was saying about the technology, even in our industry, has changed so much in the last 10 years that we sort of made the decision that, look, we're going to implement the latest and greatest, the real-time technology, everything that's, for the TikTok generation, attention span, whatever it is, so that everything's immediate, so that everything is coming up when you need it. We decided we needed to rebuild it from scratch, so it could not just support this new feature set that is coming out with 2.0, but also all the new features that we're going to be adding in the coming months and years. It was just time.
And I mean, everything I've seen is just fantastic. So I just want to compliment you and your team on creating such a cool new system with all of these cool new features.
No, absolutely. I appreciate it. It's honestly just a lot of fun to see everyone's reactions to it and that kind of thing as we're going live. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
And what we're going to do is Ian is going to be taking us on a really cool tour of our new offices that we've now opened up just on the other side of the road on Glance business intelligence and how we keep Glance up and running.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't be me if I wasn't giving you a hint at some of the cool things that we're coming up with.
Awesome. So we're going to cut over to us going over to the other office that we just did a couple of minutes ago.
Welcome to the expansion.
So on this side of the office, as well as our sales, marketing, and accounts function, we've got the Glance Command and Control Center, which we affectionately call Glance at a Glance. And this is part of our continued commitment to quality, to making sure that Glance always runs smoothly and always delivers. So you can see behind me, we're monitoring pretty much everything from our remote connectivity to our field device performance. All of this is monitored 24/7 and alerted on, just like your Glance devices are alerted on. So you get a text message when there's anything to look at or to be concerned about. We apply the same principles to monitoring the entirety of the Glance system as a whole. And over here you can see we're also expanding our arrays of TVs to include everything from monitoring alarms, making sure that they're working great, making sure our field devices are able to check in, as well as looking for trends in the data and that kind of thing. You know, this part of Glance, making sure that it is fleet-wide taken care of, is part of what has sort of inspired our new rollout of the Glance Business Intelligence engine that we're going to go take a look at over here in the conference room. So as we've been rolling out the same principles that we use to manage the entire fleet of Glance to all of our customers, you know, especially as our customers have more and more devices, more to look after, we want to make sure that that's easy to see and easy to do. So what I've pulled up behind me here is the Glance Business Intelligence for Valdosta, Georgia, who was severely impacted by Hurricane Helene. So we can take a look at some of these displays here and see that they lost power to almost all of their intersections. And you can tell that the line crews and the traffic folks have been working really hard to get everything back online. There's still 26 devices that are in AC failure and power failure, but you can see on the graph there when they started restoring power shortly after the 27th there. So this is part of sort of monitoring how everything's running, how everything's working. You can see that the first responders, the emergency response, have been incredibly busy in Valdosta. In the past 7 days, they've done 515 service trips. And when you pair this kind of insight with the Glance map, you can see here exactly where your offline intersections are, your offline beacons, where your emergency vehicles are, and all of the information that you need to manage your entire city's infrastructure.
Great. Well, that was a fantastic tour of the other office. Julie, can you tell us what we're going to go through today? What's on schedule?
Yeah, so today we've got really an introduction to Glance 2.0 to reiterate to you guys, about this whole new look, same feel that we have designed into the new platform. But then we're also going to go through a series of new features, and the way that we're going to go about this is by doing a couple of live demos with you. So super exciting, and we can get straight into going through the new user interface and just getting you orientated with the new Glance.
Judy, can you talk us about the first home page, as we log in? What is there?
So we really wanted to focus on making the login page a more welcoming space for our users. So first thing that you'll notice is there is a login carousel, and that gives you a whole lot of information about exciting things happening within your area, generally at Applied Information, new products, etc. So you'll notice it switching between different images. And at any time, you can click on the slide and it will open up a new tab with a link to that new information.
And this that I just clicked on now is actually one of the tabs that gets used a lot from a lot of different people, which is our video learning platform, which has pretty much everything we're going through today on the platform. So this is the training of Glance System Basics.
Yeah. And that's super important because as people get orientated with using Glance 2.0, this is a great resource and now really easy to access directly from the login page.
All right, so I'm going to log into Town of Addison.
Correct, yeah.
And now, just maybe explain to us, What's different here? Because already I can see a whole bunch of things that look a lot different than what Glance 1.0 looked like.
Yeah, it does look a lot different, but actually fundamentally most things are the same. So you'll notice that the way that the page is laid out, your device list on the left-hand side, your navigation at the top right, all of that is the same as what you had in Glance 1. It just looks a lot better, and it's also designed in such a way that it should be more convenient for you to find different things within Glance. So it'll take some time to get orientated, but it's really a nice new layout.
Awesome. I mean, that's really cool. So, you know, the Glance look and feel is very much the same, but what we're going to see next, there's a whole bunch of new things that you guys have really implemented. Can you tell us how you've designed, how everything got designed for a much larger scale as well?
Wow. So we got this brief however long ago, 2 and a bit years, and we went about designing each individual feature in great detail and also looking at Glance as a holistic system and how each of these things fit in so that we could really scale as we move forward into the future, as we're adding more and more, as Ian said, you know, in the coming months and years, to make sure that the way we've designed Glance 2.0 now prepares us for that going forward.
Great. Well, let's go into the real-time traffic side of Glance now, that's my exciting part. I love that.
It's the new shiny toy in Glance 2.0 is this focus on real-time traffic, and like we said earlier, it was a huge priority to bring that in. So in our next demo, we're going to run through a kind of high level on the real-time traffic, and that includes intersections, emergency vehicles, and even school beacons. So we can get right into it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the live traffic data now. So if we click on this, it's going to bring up all of the different intersections, and now you're seeing a much more richer system.
Right, so right now we're looking at an intersection, and we're getting all of this real-time traffic information coming through right as it happens. So in the middle, we can see this dial. We've got a lot of information going on there, but we can see the cycle time counting down in real time with 46 seconds to go. We can see the offset of 35 seconds, and also the plan number that this particular intersection is running. We can see whether it is on its master or local cycle timer. We can also see the splits that are running. And then finally, what you see there with the gray circle in that dial, that's showing the mode that the controller is in. And we'll go into some more detail on that in a bit. But it gives a lot of insight into what's happening in your system based on that color.
And if you're ever wanting to know what does all of this mean, you just click on the settings, you click on show real-time traffic, and it's going to tell you if that gray icon there in the middle is blue, it means it's running in Preempt. If it's red, it's in Flash. Gray, which is what it is right now, it's running coordination. Yellow is in transition, white is in free. And then we've got the cycle time, the offset, and the plan number. And this is a great way of visualizing what's going on. Not only just visualizing one intersection, but visualizing a group of them to actually see, are these signals coordinated with each other correctly? Over here is a great view of what's going along on this corridor. And you can see all of the different arrows for this particular corridor. We can see the local cycle times. If we click on the cogwheel, we can also go in there and show master cycle times. Now these should all be reading roughly the same number here because they're all running the same master cycle time, except for this one up here, which is running in free. So it's not running any cycle time. But it's very, very nice to be able to see what's going on with all your traffic controllers in a city like this. We can go back to the local cycle timer. And then also you have the ability that you can click on a particular intersection and look at more details. So now we can see the AC voltage, cabinet temperature, battery backup systems. But now the new stuff that's coming in is cycles in transition right now, total cycles in transition today, and then also what the network status is, the plan number, and the controller mode. Now, one big thing that has changed is we've moved the information for the more details, not down at the bottom below everything, but right at the top.
Correct. Yeah, that will just allow you to navigate around Glance much faster. It's made to be convenient for our users, but it's something to keep an eye out for because it's moved.
So when we click on more details, it's now going to take us to what we call Glance Level 2 of information. And Glance Level 2 takes you to that next level of information. So what it's going to do is it's going to show you all the information on the left-hand side, and then cameras, as well as all the graphs. Now, what's very new is when we scroll down here, I really like to look at this, total cycles and transition. So when I click on this, we can see that this controller goes into transition all the time. And you can see here is, it went in roughly 40 times, and then you had the following days over here, and you can see this was Monday, this was Tuesday, today is Wednesday, and all of this information over here is available to you to see why is it going into transition. And I also know it's not caused by preemption, because if I go down here, I look at the preemption graph, our preempts don't happen that often. So you can see, we don't go into preempt that often. So the controller is going into transition quite a lot. And what we found out is it's generally due to oversized PEDs. And the PEDs don't have, the pedestrian pushes a button, and the splits on the traffic controller aren't enough to let that PED go through. So the controller can't stay in coordination. So it goes into transition before it can go back into coordination, which kind of messes up traffic a little bit. So, but this is a great visualization tool now.
Yeah, so the new features that are brought into Glance are giving users these awesome insights into what's actually happening with their system, and then it allows you to make changes based on that new information that you've received.
So you can see exactly what's going on with the different cycle lengths and so on. There's a lot more information here. All of this is available on the Uqualio side. But what's great is you can look at that information, and then you can click on the remote front panel. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up a remote front panel directly into the traffic controller. So now you can go in and make your changes that you want. So we can see that this controller is running coordination, plan number 2, and we can see everything that's going on. You got full control of this from here, and going in here, looking at the status screen, that we can see exactly what's going on with all the different splits. This is the Econolite EOS controller, so it's got a lot more information on what channels are active. You can also test out vehicle detectors. You can put in pedestrian calls. You can put in preemption calls over here. And then also even look at like the coordination dial. And this is a great dial to look at because now you can actually watch the traffic controller go through phase 1, and you'll see phase 1 will then transition to yellow, and then go into all the different phases that are available here. So this means a lot to the traffic engineers, and it's a great way of actually being able to control your intersections very, very quickly and easily.
And a super central place for all of this information. I mean, it all comes together in one platform. You can access everything through Glance. And I mean, I think a huge theme of Glance 2.0 is making operations more convenient for our users. And I mean, it just shows here that you can gain all of this insight from a single place.
Now, this business also has emergency vehicles here. So this is one of the stations that they have here. So you can see the fire vehicles here, and they've got their traffic utility vehicles also on the map. And we're hoping that we'll see there's another fire station over here with a number of different vehicles. You can see we have EMT, medic vehicles, we've got engines, and also squad vehicles. So all of them have different icons on the map as well. And when you see them live on the map, we'll show you hopefully a little bit later, what a live emergency run looks like when these vehicles start driving in an emergency situation. But I'm going to zoom into the city of Augusta. I'm going to turn the traffic layer back on. And you can see, this is interesting. This is a traffic controller that's in transition right now. So you can see that it's gone yellow, which means it's in transition right now. And as I said, majority of the time this is due to oversized PEDs. So PED would have pushed a button and gone active over here, and now it's running in transition. We'll keep monitoring this guy and see when it goes gray back in coordination. So we can see and zoom into it. You'll see here they've got, actually this is an adaptive corridor running a Conlight's adaptive system. But on their intersections, if I zoom into one of them, you'll see that actually this intersection, if I click on it, Maine DOT's got a whole slew of different types of things because they are running a CV2X deployment here. So they're running a CV2X system. You can see its status is good. They're running grid smart cameras over here. They're running their Conlight controller. They're also running Wavetronics as well. So you can now go in directly to Wavetronics and you can open up the information on the Wavetronics system. So this is looking directly into theirs. I'm not very familiar with exactly how all of this works, but a lot of other people are. So all of this can be configured remotely and changed remotely just through this hyperlink over here. And you got the Conlight controller. All of these can be locked down per user. And you also have the grid smart system. So this will go into the GS2 system where you can log in here to this particular local camera and make any changes. So there's a lot more information and richness available within the Glance 2.0 platform. Awesome. I mean, that's a lot on new features, the look. I really like seeing all those arrows and knowing exactly what's going on with every single intersection in real time. I feel like the Glance system's become a far more real-time system that you use as the first system you would log in to see if everything's working.
Yeah, and it just, like we showed there, it integrates all of these other platforms into it, which becomes a single point of entry in a way for you to monitor your entire system, understand what's going on across your traffic management, and yeah, just generally have a single place that you can go to for everything that you need.
Cool. We're going to be going into a bunch of other features. We've got a new system called Video Plus and also Grid View and Arterial View. There's a whole slew of new things that have also come in which are totally different. So we'll go in and have a look at how we've implemented all of those new features. We've got a whole bunch of new tools over here. We've got Video Plus, Playback, and Preempt Speed Profile. So on the Video Plus screen, it's going to open up for the town of Addison all of their video streams. And what I can do is open up, this is going to give us their different video streams that they have. But town of Addison said that they wanted to break it down into different corridors, because what they do is they come in the morning and say, okay, well, what we want to do is we want to look at our various different corridors that we have and then move over to the next one. So what this does is you can now see updated images for all of these different devices here. And then if you want to click on something, because you see some kind of condition that's happening, you can click on any one of them, and it's then going to bring up the next level of information, and this is live streaming now. So now you can see this is a very good stream. You can see the cars coming over there. This is a PTZ camera. What I can also do is click on the little X over here, and now this goes fully widescreen. Or I can also click on this button and it'll go full screen. So it really gives you a great way of seeing exactly what's going on at these traffic signals. You can also go up to the top here and look at just 4 camera feeds at a time. So now we're on the 4 different feeds over here. And we can then go to 9. If you see something like this, sometimes as you're grabbing the picture from these, they get a little bit pixelated, and then they'll fix themselves. And then go to a bigger screen view. So, you've got all these different corridors you can go into and see what's going on in these different areas. What you're also capable of doing is, let's say I want to view the video of all of these at the same time. If you hit Control and you click the 4 different images and you hit play selection, it'll then play the video streams for those 4 different cameras simultaneously at the same time. So now it's going to open up these 4 different video cameras, and you can see they've set it up as quad view on all of them. And now we've got quad view for all of these different signals showing at exactly the same time. And this is a very good video system now. What I like to do is I like to have this open on one screen, and I like to have the glance system open up on another screen, so I can really look at, well, what's happening with the traffic, and I can manage my traffic on 2 monitors basically. If you guys want to get Video Plus enabled for your city, just reach out to Applied Information or reach out to our partners, and they'll get you in contact and get you guys some pricing on how to actually get this up and running. The other things that we've done as well is under the view section, there's a couple of new options here. There's the map view that we're on right now. There's arterial view. If you click on arterial view, what it does is it brings up all of these intersections for the Beltline corridor in the correct order. This is cool. We just saw this intersection go into transition while we're demoing right now. This is an intersection that's offline at the moment. This is offline because they've actually got a maintenance event that's happening there. And you can see this intersection just went into transition, this intersection just went into transition, and this one's gone back into coordination. So transition events are far more frequent than you realize. And you can see it's a short transition event that these guys just went into. And all of this is a great view to look at what's going on, within different corridors. You can click on the different view over here if you want to look at more or less. The other thing I like to do on this is I like to click the master or the local cycle time, because now I can look at this complete corridor and I can see all of these are perfectly synced with each other, which means time synchronization is working really, really, really well. So this is a great new view that helps you look into the different intersections that you have. You can click on each individual intersection here, and you can also go to a different arterial as well.
And then if you click on the dial itself of any of those, it'll bring up more details about that intersection. So you can see all of those additional insights directly from the arterial view. And then if you wanted to, you could go ahead and click more details, and that would take us back to the level 2 page.
That's awesome. So what you can do as well from here is then go to the grid view. And grid view was something that came from all of our glance users. There were a lot of people that wanted to look at information from all sorts of different devices all on one page. Now, this is showing over here, like for instance, they've got some school zones where it's showing some information here. These 2 have got driver feedback signs connected to them. And now it's going into signals. If you want, you can click on filter, and now we can go in and we can click on the things that we want to see. Let's say we're just interested in intersections, for instance. What you can do is select the information over here for your intersection. As you see, it just starts populating itself. Is the cabinet fan working? What's the cabinet temperature? Is your comms working? What is the controller mode, the offset, the total cycle times? So you can just build this up, and now this tells you a whole story here where you can see that this device doesn't have a BBS, but it's got some alarms that are happening over here. So there's a whole slew of information available.
And this is all the latest that has come through for each of these devices. I mean, this is the latest post that each of them has sent through.
So on intersections, let's say I just want to see intersections. I can go over here and just type in intersections, and now you can see all of the information just for traffic signals. So you can see all of the information just available here, and you can also filter down on what you want to do to see a lot. But this gives you a view of all your devices in one quick view. So let me log into Gwinnett County, and they generally only have school zones. This is Gwinnett County, and they've got all sorts of school zones. This is one of the new features within Glance, which is icon clustering. You can see that it's showing, because they've got 270 beacons in a small area, showing that there are 13 beacons over here in that cluster. And as you zoom in further, and now you can see these are the beacons that are on versus beacons that are off. So you can see these are off, but these beacons are on.
Peter, did you know that if you look at a cluster when you're zoomed out and you click on the cluster, it'll zoom in for you?
No, I did not. So I'm going to zoom in, and if I just click on the cluster,
There we go.
boom, that's awesome. Okay, I'm learning some new features here as well, which is fantastic. Awesome. Well, thanks. I'm learning new things because there's so many little things that you guys have created here, and the whole thing of Video Plus and the different views that we have now. I mean, that really helps people configure and design the Glance system to work for them.
And I think, we've introduced so many new features, but the level of detail that's gone into little things like that, like clicking a cluster and having it zoom in for you, that type of detail you can see throughout the whole of Glance. And that's why it's taken us, this amount of time to bring it forward, is because we've thought about each and every little thing that's gone into it. And it's really close to our hearts, really.
No, that's fantastic. And, we've got one of the next features, which I absolutely love. This took some time, is what we call the Preempt speed profile. And what that does, it looks at every emergency vehicle run that you have, how the vehicle drives through, and the speed of the vehicle. So we can see whether or not a vehicle ended up slowing down for a red traffic light or so on. So we can then look at that, and we can then optimize things, which to me, that's a huge new feature.
Yeah, it's a great tool to look at how well your preemption system is operating, and then what changes you can make to improve it.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go show you exactly what we mean about Preempt speed profile in the next segment. When you get into the speed profile, it's going to show up all of this information on the map of where all of your signals are. What we're going to do is we're going to select an engine. So now it's going to give you all active trips for the month of October, September. So if we go into October and I select a relatively long run here, let's go to the 2nd of October, and I click on it, it's going to show that particular vehicle and how he drove to a scene. So you can see he's going through this signal, this signal, this signal, and somewhere around here. And now there's this big profile down here at the bottom. You can see as he's slowly getting up to speed, here's probably where he's turning over there. So we'll watch him as he drives through. So if I hit play, it's going to show you the actual vehicle speed there, 8 miles an hour. And this is actually as he's driving along. Now you see the left turn indicator, you see the light is preempted, and the next one. And this means that it's preempted on both radio and cellular communications.
And we see that by the little icon inside the circle.
Yeah. And now you can watch as he's driving up. Now if you don't want to sit and watch the whole time, you can also hit this button. Now it's going to go 4 times speed. And you can see there the preempted the next signal. And now his right turn indicator's on. And now he's turning. And now he's driving to the next one that's already been triggered ahead of time. And you'll watch him go through the signal. And you'll watch how quick the signals also go back into normal operation. So now he's driving up to wherever this scene is over here, across the parking lot. And that's exactly where he ended up going. Now, what does all of this mean? You know, we saw all of these different things that went through here. What does it mean? You can click on this and you can see This means Preempt was successful, active Preempt using cellular, active Preempt using radio only, and active using both cellular and radio. And then if you have optical as well, we can also show you an optical signal coming through, and then CV2X. So that's our new optical data aggregator that we can interface to Tomar and to GTT, or now MyoVision, or Opticom detectors. And we've got active Preempt CV2X as well. And there are some cities that actually run silent runs. So you can see there's actually a different color over here for silent runs if a city is actually running that.
And that's actually a feature that we implemented after we had already developed the Preempt speed profile. We got a lot of feedback from some cities saying, hey, you know what would be really handy is if we could see our silent runs. So we went ahead and we have adjusted the Preempt speed profile to suit their needs.
So this is an interesting run because what we're going to see is we're going to see it going through some signals that are controlled by us and then other signals that are not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play and follow this vehicle as it goes through our signals that are preempted, and then watch it go through some other signals over here, which clearly it didn't get stopped here, but watch as it gets to this road here. This is called arriving on a negative intersection. The intersection was probably red for him. He's slowing right down, and then he's trying to gain control here, and now he's speeding up again. So this is called having to slow down due to a traffic signal that does not have preemption. This is in the city next door that does not have preemption included on their system. And here he's slowing down just to make this turn and going off to the house over there.
That's really powerful to be able to see the speed change as the vehicle goes through its run. I mean, and we can also see the turn indicators shown there on the speed profile as well.
So what we're going to do is look at this run where the vehicle is going to drive down to the south now, and you can see it preempting the first signal and then straight away preempting these signals down here to flush the traffic out. So as it's going to come through here, you can see it flushing the traffic out. It's turning right, coming through this side road here. Oh, it actually went there. It's preempting all of the other traffic away from it as well. And now coming down here and preempting this signal. So all of this information is available at your fingertips. So one of the things you're going to notice when you log into City of Marietta is they've got a lot of bus priority here. You see over here, one of the things you can do now as well, which is really cool, is you can select just 10 minutes. And now it's going to give you all the information. You can see this bus over here is driving 31 miles an hour, 22, 18, 14. But you can actually track all of the different buses, what speed they're driving. So this gives you real live travel time information for every single bus that's traveling along the system.
And what's super cool about using the Google Maps layer is that you can actually see the bus stops. So when the bus comes to a stop on the map, you could zoom in and you can see when it's actually stopping at a bus stop as opposed to at an intersection.
That's so cool. Really, that is one of my favorite features because it makes testing, preemption that much easier, but also go back and optimize. You know, one of the things with our preemption system, we don't just install something and then just leave it be. We're always trying to make it better, and that's when somebody can come back and say, hey, something didn't quite work correctly. Let's go in and find out what actually didn't work, and this has been a great new feature there.
It has, and we've gotten some great feedback about it, and based on that feedback, we've actually gone and made improvements. And it's really insightful for us to hear about how our users are interacting with the different features, because we really want to make it as great as what we can for them. So we really appreciate that feedback, and we always do our best to try and implement it afterwards.
So with that as well, if you guys have got feedback, please give it to us, because then what we're going to do is we're going to actually go and say, okay, cool, let's let's go add that as our next feature. All of these features that we've created were asked for by Glance customers. The other thing, what we're doing, I know there's some questions that are coming in. We are going to answer those. We're going to go through the next section on School Beacon scheduling, and then we're going to come straight back and answer all of your questions. So let's head down into School Beacon scheduling, and we'll come back and answer questions afterwards.
So first and foremost, school beacons and school beacon scheduling was a huge focus in our Glance 2.0 movement. We put a huge amount of effort into how we wanted to approach scheduling and just generally how we wanted to have it designed, how we wanted to have it working, and very cognizant of how many users use scheduling. So how can we make it more convenient, faster, easier for users to engage with? So the very first thing that we added in was a scheduling button right here in your navigation bar. So you can reach your scheduling page from anywhere inside Glance. Previously, you'd have to go to a devices level 2 page, which you can still do and hit the edit button. But now, no matter where you are, you hit scheduling and it will take you there. So from the outset, it might look quite different, but fundamentally, the scheduling processes are the same. We wanted to make sure that people, our users, could slot right in and schedule things as they had done before. So that was a really, really important part of this for us. But we'll see here on the left-hand side, you have a list of all of your businesses and all of your school beacons, and you can go ahead and select which ones you would like to schedule to, either by business or individually, or you could go ahead and click all, and that would essentially publish to all of your school beacons. What's super cool about Glance 2.0 is that we essentially rebuilt the entire tool to be much, much faster so that we can schedule to up to 1,000 beacons at a single time, which is insane. You could not do that before. So super cool here to come in and press all and schedule to all of your beacons. On the scheduling page itself, we notice at the top that we have the list of schedules where you can have your 20 schedules, but we'll only show you 3 to start with because typically most users are only using their first 3 schedules. If you want to find the rest of them, you hit show more, and then you can see the full list of 20 right there.
Cool.
And then we have our schedule details like you would normally have. If we want to go in and create a new schedule row, you hit the plus button, and then that will open up the schedule editor. Now, as we said before, all the same functionality is there. We've just kind of reshuffled what it looks like so that it is more attractive to you as a user, but also that it is more convenient to use. So you have your time, your command, beacon on, beacon off, your day selection where you can easily select weekdays by a single click, and then your months and dates if you would like to go that far into detail. What's really handy with the new scheduling is that we are going to, by default, select the command looking at what your previous row was. So for example, in this schedule, let's say cancel. In this schedule, we can see that the last row was beacon off. So as soon as I hit plus here, you'll see that we've selected beacon on.
And it looks like it's an hour later as well.
And it is an hour later, you are correct. That's us making an assumption on what we think you want to do. Hopefully we'll save you a click or 2. And if we did get it right, you can just go ahead and press save, and that'll add the row. If I do it again, see, now we're thinking, we think you want to do beacon off and an hour later. So that's just one example of a minor tweak that we've made to scheduling that will hopefully make a big difference in the time that you spend scheduling.
And I see that this is built like this. So if I go and minimize the screen here and look as if you on a phone, this is what it would look like.
Correct.
So, you can see that it's a very, very easy to use, touch-friendly interface now.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback actually before we started Glance 2.0, designing Glance 2.0, that our users wanted to schedule while they were out in the field. So we were like, sure thing, mobile friendly. So not only scheduling, but all of Glance 2.0 and its supporting tools are coming out mobile friendly. So no matter where you are, what you're doing, you can whip out your phone, tablet, anything, and you can use all of the features on Glance across it.
And we figured out as well that about 40% of our users that use Glance all the time are coming in through a mobile phone.
And now it is so much easier, and particularly scheduling. This has been specifically designed for you to use on your phone. We've also done a couple of updates to our holidays and exceptions tab. So you have your summer holidays, or you want to schedule an early release. You can go and do that as you would have done previously, but we want to make this a little bit easier for you when you are setting up completely new holidays, or if you want to update your holidays from one year to the next. We've introduced a new drop-down over here called Generate Holidays, where you can select to either update your current holidays. So in this case, we can see that we already have a bunch of existing holidays. If I were to go and click that, it would update them from 2024 and 2025 to 2025 and 2026.
So this means that next school year, all they're going to do is hit Generate Holidays, and it's going to update all of their current holidays.
Yep.
So like this update current holidays is going to look at exactly what they programmed in and actually pull in MLK Day, what it is going to be for the following year.
Correct.
Automatically.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Well, that saves a lot of time.
It does save a lot of time. And then also, if you're coming in for the first time and you're setting up holidays from square one, like it's blank, we've also implemented functionality to load calendar templates, and we've got this for the US and for Canada, and that'll bring in a bunch of sort of standard holidays across the board. And once you've loaded that template, you can go in and make whatever changes you want. You can edit the dates, you can add in more rows and press save. So it'll save a bunch of time.
Is there a way of loading other templates in? In other words, let's say we've got a West Coast where, generally East Coast holidays and West Coast holidays are different, all the Seattle areas. If we've got a partner in the Seattle area that says, hey, all of our holidays are roughly the same within our area, can we create a template? Is that possible?
Completely. Super easy. We can add in as many templates as we want. And it's a very simple process to do so.
All right. Now, program delay, I don't think there's anything new within this, except what we've done over here, which is the which beacons are selected. So you can see if it does this little half color-coded, it means it's not all beacons are selected. Well, the same here. If I don't select all beacons in this business, but if I want to select all beacons there and all beacons there.
Yeah, and the reason that we've done that is because you can collapse the businesses if you hit that little arrow. That just saves space in your list, and then if you've only selected a couple of them, you'll be able to see that half-filled square and go, let me maybe go and check what's going on there just to make sure that I've done it correctly.
And this is generally designed, let's say tomorrow we're not going to have school. I can select tomorrow, morning, afternoon. Instead of delaying it for like a snow day, I can say, hey, there's a storm coming in, we're canceling school. Let's add it. October the 4th is going to be beacons are off.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty simple. Now, scenarios. What is that?
Scenarios are instances where you would want to essentially control your entire fleet of beacons altogether. And you would typically either switch them all on, switch them all off, or set them all to schedule. So that would be in a case, like you said, where there is a storm and you want to just quickly switch everything off right now. And we can go ahead and do that by adding all of the beacons, saying beacon off, and then publishing the scenario. Once the storm is passed, then you can go and do the exact same thing, but to schedule. And they'll all go right back to schedule, business as usual.
Awesome. We only had a certain amount of time, so there are a lot more features that we have that we do want to show to you. We will be doing another webinar in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to go through some other things like seeing live emergency responses. But at the same time, part of what Julia's going to be doing is scheduling some sessions with everybody, all our Glance customers. If anyone's got any kind of questions, she's going to do a one-on-one session with you guys and go through in your business and then optimize it for you guys. So please reach out to us. Either reach out to your distributor in the area. You know, depending on where you are, we work with various different partners in those different areas, and they can help set up these Glance sessions for you. And generally, it's going to be Julia or myself or Jeff or Brian, one of us all coming in and providing some great training for you guys. So I'm going to go through some of the questions from James. Are these features still being rolled out? My Glance does not have all these features, though it does have the new look. Okay, so great question. It all depends on what you have within your business, and also in terms of, you know, what do you, for instance, real-time traffic. We haven't enabled that on every single business. So we do need to go down with you guys and say, okay, you're in XYZ city. Do you want that feature? And then we can go in and enable it for your existing devices that you have there. So what we'll do is we're going to reach out to you directly, and then we'll go in and set up an individual call, and we can go and show you those things. All right, Tucker, in Beltline Road Corridor example, you see when the pedestrian phases are active, just like you can with the vehicle phases and the green. Not yet, but it's coming.
It's in the pipeline. I can confirm it's in the pipeline. We've got the design going for that, and it's kind of an expansion onto our real-time traffic information setup. So you'll see it soon.
And what we're doing with that as well is we're also looking at detector information as well. So what we mean by that is we're even going to show you if, for instance, a particular detector is in recall. Because generally, you know, at like 3 a.m. when you have a problem, you log into the remote front panel and then put the traffic controller into recall, and you go deal with it the next day, but you might forget about it. So now you're going to actually be able to see in the real-time traffic. So that's part of our phase 2 of real-time traffic. So there's a lot of these things. So please, Tucker, questions like that, we definitely want that. Is the system displaying live traffic counts separated by approach and lane? That's exactly what some of the stuff that we're adding in the next live traffic information. Patrick, 85th percentile and 95th percentile speeds listed in the drop-down menu. Can you drill down to more about that feature? Absolutely, we can. What we'll do is we'll reach out to you after this and set up a call where we can take you through that. All of the information's available for 85th percentile, 95th percentile, the volume of vehicles on the roadway. So we can actually delve down into those, and we can also even grab information from all of those and export it to Excel. And we've got all sorts of other graphs and things like that where we have available. Nicholas, is there a way to hide school beacons or intersections so the map doesn't look congested, all the icons? Yes. So not as standard. What we do is we create what we call views. So all you got to do is just tell us, hey, I want to have a view that shows just school beacons or just intersections or just vehicles. So we normally do that with larger scale deployments. And then you can basically click on any one of those and it will pop up with just that information for just the school zones. Plus, when you then click on like grid view, it'll only show you the school beacons in your grid view.
We've also implemented a new thing to assist with that, which kind of piggybacks on our super user functionality, which historically we have had implemented kind of at the distributor level, but we are now bringing that in kind of at the agency level. So if you're looking at a city, then when you log in, you can pick whether you would like to look at your intersections or your beacons, depending on how you have your system set up. So that is available, and we can set that up for our agency level users.
Well, I'm taking this as a feature request here from Glance users that they want to have. Some of them would like that ability.
Yeah, it's there. We just need to know who wants it, and we can get that set up.
All right, Tim, does remote front panel only work for Conlight controllers? If not, what other controllers does it work with? And the answer is we pretty much work with every single traffic controller. So, not old controllers. So like, Siemens M50, Siemens M60, but not an M40. The M40 I don't believe is Ethernet. And we work with Interlight controllers and McCain and Peak and any controller pretty much. And that's why we've got this lab behind us, because we have every single traffic signal controller behind us here. We used to get a lot of schedule mismatch in Glance 1.0. Is this fixed in 2.0? Schedule mismatch, depending on how you've scheduled your devices, we tried to basically come up and see, is there anything that wasn't scheduled correctly? In other words, was the beacon reading something different? So sometimes it was somebody had hit save instead of save and publish. So that's why it came up there. And Nicholas, we'd love to work with you more and see within your system if you have any of those. And that's something that we can set up a training session.
Something that I will say on that point is that because Glance 2.0 is a lot faster, it means that we're checking in with the beacons a lot more frequently. So if you have a case where there was a mismatch, but you've cleared it, oftentimes in Glance 1, that would take a little while to come through, but we're seeing that a lot faster in Glance 2.
Great. Is there a fix for time clocks not communicating with 2.0? I have two that will not communicate to add holidays and exceptions. Not sure what your issue is, Kevin. What we'll do is after this, get you in contact with one of our sales engineers that can look into it. Generally, the way that the beacons communicated with Glance 1 and Glance 2 are the same way. It's mainly the look and feel. So that could be something's gone wrong with one of those beacons. They could be bad cell signal, something like that. Jackson, is adaptive traffic control managed by the RSU communicating to other RSUs, or is it managed by the Glance cloud computing? Generally, actually, the adaptive side is like what we were showing earlier with the adaptive within that was in the state of Maine. They were actually running an adaptive system by a Conlight, and we were just basically showing that those controllers were running in adaptive. So we're not controlling the adaptive from Glance itself. We're working together with whoever's adaptive system it is that you're utilizing. So if you're using Centrax and they're adaptive, or you're using Synchro Green, whatever system you're utilizing, we interface with those and can show all of that information so that you know that the controller is running adaptive, and then have a look at that. So I know we've run a little bit over. I have to apologize for that. We have too many new things to show. So I want to thank everyone for your time. We will be reaching out. Anyone that's asked questions, we'll be reaching out. But please also reach back out to us. If you guys have got any questions and you want to have a one-on-one session, Julie is here to help you guys. And there are a lot more new features that we'd love to show you guys. Utilize that help section within Glance. You'll see some of these new features. And we will also post this video up on YouTube as well, so that you guys get access to this live. Thanks, Julia, for joining me. Really appreciate it, and well done.
Oh, thank you. And it's such a pleasure to speak with everybody and bring Glance 2.0 forward. It's been a really long time in the making, and I think I can speak on behalf of myself and for the team that has put it together. Everybody is really proud of this project, and it's very close to our hearts. So we really hope that you enjoy it, and we look forward to your feedback.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And that's the end of the show. Thank you, everyone.